You are listening to the Lady K Show. Everything in health, wealth, and the in-between. Success tips, relationships, health, wellness, entrepreneurship, business insights, leadership, current events. All these things you can find and more on the Lady K Show. Welcome to the Lady K Show, and on today's show, I'm talking to Anita Johnson. She's a financial psychologist, author, speaker, radio host, and the founder of Money Wisdom for Women. All right, she's actually a fighting advocate for women's finances. For 30 years, Ms. Johnson has actually been designing and managing and implementing financial spending plans for women in all income status. Ms. Johnson, I'm so excited to have you on the show today.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, what is a financial psychologist?
You know, I get asked that question a lot. They're like, what do you do? Blah, blah, blah. Right. So what a financial psychologist is someone who is actually sitting down with a person and trying to understand what their financial blocks are, trying to help that person understand what their financial blocks are, dealing with some financial issues they may have had around their money, childhood, bringing them to a point where they can understand that, take away some of the blocks, the financial blocks that they have, and help them live abundantly with their finances. And we go through, a number of steps to help them do that. And at the end of that, at the end of the step, we actually are helping them create financial abundance. And so that's part of what a financial psychologist does.
Hey, now, I'm just really curious to find out, what was your relationship with finances growing up?
Oh, wow. Truth or dare, huh? Well, for me, finances, and I say this is kind of where my life started, but I didn't know it kind of started, my life in finances, but I didn't know it kind of started there. As I look back through my young life, my young adult life, it started, way back when my parents, I lived in a small town, and my parents were pretty known. They were educators, and so they were known. So when you live in a small town, everybody knows who you are. You actually have things called, you got an account at the store. It's not a credit card, it's an account. So you could go to the store, I could go to the store and say, hey, I want such and such and such, and put it on my parents' account. And that's what would happen. And so as you get into into adulthood, some of that stuff goes with you. So as I left teenage, and got into my 20s and 30s, and eventually married, that's exactly what happened. It was like, oh, well, put it on my account. Somebody else will pay for it. And you have to pay for it. And so that's where, the rubber had met the road. And so that's kind of where my financial life kind of ended and, started. And then as I married and my parents my dad especially was still kind of paying for things and buying things and doing things, that kind of made for a rocky relationship with my husband. And so that's where a lot of that came from. And so right now, that doesn't happen. My father finally cut me off, and then I had to do my own thing. But that's kind of where that began.
Many times we get into, young people, get into trouble financially, right? And it's not that it's just not knowing, what to do and how to do it. And so, having access is one thing. It's kind of like you're oblivious to how to manage income and what to do, and just now the nature of the financial age has changed so much. I mean, college is more expensive. Things are, banks are a little bit tougher for you to, get accounts, and credit cards are a little bit harder to get into. So I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about how the financial landscape of America has changed, I guess, in the last 10 years.
Oh, yeah, this is true. It used to be that, we were savers. The income was good. Incomes were good. And we were able to save money. We had, for instance, employers had retirement plans that they matched, and they can match 8-10% of whatever we put in. They matched it 10%, up to 10%. Maybe some of them even did more. Now, employers are if you find an employer that's matching, it's they're matching only maybe 3%, no matter how much you put in there. And this is for retirement. This is matching your retirement plan, your thrift plan. Your thrift plan, your IRAs, your